NBC5 News at 6 starts now.
SOU's president reacting to new executive orders from President Trump, how they impact the university's federal funding and bottom line. Good evening, and thank you for choosing NBC5 News at 6. I'm Andrea Boyd. Since President Trump has taken office, he's been busy issuing dozens of executive orders. Some of those orders change where federal funds go, which has big implications on local agencies, programs, and universities like SOU. NBC5's Maximus Osborne spoke with Southern Oregon University President Rick Bailey to learn about how Trump's presidency might affect the institution. In our top story at 6.
We are a public institution, so we are always going to be conscious and obey federal and state law. So we're always going to do that.
Among President Donald Trump's dozens of executive orders since taking office is one that targets diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, or DEI, in the public and private sector. This includes cutting federal funding for DEI programs.
As a public institution, our students are reliant on federal funding. So we also want to make sure that we are consistent and that we're not put in a position where those students are harmed. So I think we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that that funding continues to flow.
SOU President Rick Bailey says the university prides itself on being an inclusive campus. It even has an office promoting DEI. Bailey says no mandates have affected the office as of yet. And while he says the university will adhere to any federal changes, Bailey says they're still committed to those values.
When we think about inclusion, it really is just about the big tent. It just means that everyone has a home here, no matter where they're from.
Bailey says he's confident SOU will be able to navigate the federal changes so long as they keep leading with an inclusive mindset. But he is awaiting further guidance from the federal government. And stances on DEI isn't the only topic that this institution and the administration might not see eye to eye with, as SOU wants to further implement solar power use here on campus, whereas President Trump has been against renewable energy.
Every administration in the White House has a different take on this, and we're respectful of that.
SOU is aiming to be the first public university in the country to generate all of its daytime electricity. But another President Trump executive order is pausing federal funding on the Inflation Reduction Act that promotes clean energy. However, Bailey says regardless of the president's opinion on solar power, SOU's goal is fiscally beneficial.
We will end up spending $1 million a year in electricity. Well, if there are ways for us to embrace renewable energy to lower those costs, well, then those are resources now that we have saved in order to keep tuition low, in order to keep accessibility for the institution, and to put precious resources toward direct student support.
Bailey says with this mindset, it builds their case that solar power is a nonpartisan choice. In Ashland, Maximus Osborne, NBC5 News.
Well, half of the funding for the university's solar power project comes from the federal government. Bailey says the executive order hasn't affected the project yet.